Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today is going to be a very special topic. I'm going to be talking about plotter versus pantser. Now you're probably looking at me if you're not an author and you're like, what the hell does that even mean? Let me explain. A plotter is an author that plots every single detail of his book, his or her book. A pantser is an author that writes off the cup of their head. They don't know what they're going to write. They don't know where their characters are going to go. They just make it up as I go. Now, if I'm wrong, you can obviously correct me but that is my basic understanding of it over the last 10 years that I've been writing. And I think I have a firm understanding on how it is. And I'm going to go into the basics of what they are and the differences and what I am. So, with that said, let's get it going. Is a plotter. A plotter is someone that outlines all of his work. They outline every single detail right to the very scene of what you're writing. Now I'm going to give you an example. This is one of my outlines for a future story. I don't outline every single detail, but I do give you details of what's going to happen in the story, including what's going to happen with all the characters, what they're going to do, and basically plot out scenes of what I'm going to do. Now, the difference between me and a full plotter is I pretty much just outline what I'm going to write, but after that, I kind of let the dialogue and let the action take itself based off what I'm feeling creatively at the time. So I would say I don't fully put myself in the plotter part, but I am close to there. I like to outline every detail. I like to know what I'm going to be writing, know where each character is going to go, what's going to happen, because it helps me write better. And plotters essentially are making sure everything is right before they write the story. And once they get that going, they know exactly where their book's going to go. And that is essentially what a plotter is. Now, a pantser are very different than a plotter. A pantser thinks creatively. I can't say that word today. Creatively. A pantser does not know what they're gonna write. They don't have an outline. They don't have a book. They don't have a story Bible. They just write. Now, imagine you're reading Harry Potter and J.K. Rowling just came up with that story off the top of her head. I'm pretty sure she didn't. She had an outline, she had a plan, but just imagine she did. That takes a lot of creativity and a lot of ingenious to come up with something like that. And a lot of people like writing like that, and that's totally fine. So if you're going to be a pantser, you essentially have to have more creativity, you have to always have new ideas, and you have to always have new endings. Just because sometimes you're going to end a book and it's not going to go the way you want, but you also have to be ready to avoid any plot holes. And that's a big reason why it's always, in my opinion, harder to be a pantser than it is to be a plotter, because sometimes you might miss a detail that you didn't see, and that could affect the story and the plot. But essentially, that is what a pantser is. Now, which is better? Well, obviously, I'm going to be biased and I'm going to tell you plotting is better, but you need to have a little bit of pants in you. Let me explain. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I do plotting. I plot outlines, I plot books, I plot chapter by chapter by chapter. I know where the characters are going. The one thing I don't always plot is where the characters are having events. Like, say, for example, I'm going to do an event for a character to meet at a hill or a hike. I often will leave that to the very last minute before I write, and then I'll look up places because my books are set in the real world. So if I'm looking for a restaurant to put the characters, I often will look up places right before and then I'll write the restaurant for that scene. Or I might change my mind and I say this restaurant isn't good, this place isn't good for the characters, and I'll come up with something else. So in a way, I say that I'm about 85-15 when it comes to plotter pantser, and that's essentially what how I feel. Now, some authors are more comfortable coming up with things off the top of their head. I'm not like that. I would never get a book done if I were like that. I have to plot out most of the details, and I think a lot of authors would agree with me on that part, that they do a better job just coming up with more details and finding a way to get the book done because they have everything pre-written out. And that essentially is plotting versus pantsing. Well, thank you for watching this quick video on the differences between a plotter and a pantser. This is the topic I've wanted to talk about. I'm probably going to talk about it more in the future, especially when it comes to outlines and book structure. If you like my content, be sure to like, share, and subscribe right down there. I'm going to be doing more book content pretty much daily. If I miss a day, it's usually because something went wrong, but I'm going to be doing it pretty consistently. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.